welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here and spending even just these few moments with me. I wanted to share with you some of my favorite vegan breakfasts as of recently. These are pretty quick and easy. They digest really well, and I feel like they're really satisfying. I have some sweet and savory breakfast options because I love both. And at the end of this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about intuitive eating and healing through food. So if that interests you, stay till the end, but let's get into it. Banana and ice cream is so activating to have first thing in the morning. All you will need are some frozen bananas. These are mini bananas, 2 scoops of protein powder. This is chocolate protein powder. I'll have it linked down below. Various green powders that will also be linked. I pretty much just pour all of my favorite superfoods. This is some spirulina and chia seeds and hemp seeds for toppings. This is a very customizable recipe. You can use any oat milk of your choice, and cinnamon and vanilla extract are also optional, but just load everything into your blender, and you can even use water for this instead of nut milk. I love adding protein powder to this breakfast because it definitely makes it a lot more satiating, and all you have to do is blend it all up, and you can do this without a Vitamix. I've made nice cream in many different kinds of blenders. Sometimes it's just a labor of love, but it's so worth it when you get that perfect first scoop, and it's so creamy. This one tastes like chocolate ice cream, even though it's green, because of the protein powder that I use. And I just load it up with some homemade granola, which I'll show you how to make later in this video. It's great to add some blueberries or blackberries for extra antioxidants, but I don't go too crazy adding even more fruit on top, and I feel really nourished and grounded after eating this meal. It doesn't give me a sugar rush, so I really love it. Spirulina oats is another breakfast that feels really grounding and comforting. All you need are some oats and spirulina powder, maple syrup or agave, and some nut milk or water, whatever you prefer. And I love adding maca powder to give this a little bit more of an energy kick. And I have my chia and hemp seeds as toppings, which once again are fully customizable. I feel like these ingredients are all very accessible and that these meals are pretty satisfying. I love adding so much cinnamon to my oats and also vanilla extract. Please add vanilla extract to your oats. It makes them taste so good and flavorful. And then I'm just adding in my maple syrup, which is key because it really balances out the spirulina flavor, which I personally like, but I know not everyone will like the taste and flavor of spirulina. So I'm just scooping this all up into a bowl after singing and blessing my food. And then after it's already cooked, I add in the spirulina and I proceed to load it with any toppings. And you can add tons of different fruits to this, but I personally like it plain because I love the flavor of this. So feel free to add bananas, blackberries, any of your favorite fruits on top of this, but it's super satisfying. For my savory breakfast people out there, this is a really simple ginger miso soup. All you're going to need is some shredded carrot, scallions, spinach, a little thumb of ginger, and some miso paste. This is a chickpea based one, and some vegetable stock, but you can just use water, and some sesame seeds, which are totally optional, and some rice noodles of your choice. So I start off by sauteing the ginger. I tried to use a ginger thingy and it didn't work, so I just chopped it up. And then I added my sesame seeds to roast for a bit, and my vegetable stock, and then the miso paste. I normally just use water when I'm making miso soup, but it tastes so much better when you use vegetable stock. And after that's kind of combined and cooked, just add in literally any veggies that you want. I think broccoli would be really good for this, but carrots and spinach are really light for breakfast, so I like to have those. And then just add in your noodles. These are vermicelli rice noodles, which I feel like digests really easily. And I also added some kimchi and some scallions to the top, which are totally optional, but I love those flavors. And this is one of my favorite breakfasts to have. It's so, so good. Next, we have a very versatile, crunchy granola, and I like to add cacao to mine and make mine kind of like a chocolate granola, and I literally put this on everything throughout my breakfasts of the week. All you'll need are some oats, shredded coconut, mulberries. You can also just use blueberries or bananas, some maple syrup and some nut milk, and vanilla extract and cinnamon. Super simple. All you need to do is combine everything into a big bowl. I recommend mixing together all the dry ingredients first so that they get evenly combined and distributed, and then go in with the wet ingredients of your nut milk and your maple syrup or any sweetener that you want to use, and just kind of mush everything together so that there are some clumps as well as just some loose pieces. That's how you get a really nice crunchy texture. And I just preheat my oven to 350 and put everything onto a little reusable baking sheet, and I pretty much just eye this out and put it in the oven until they get golden and crispy, maybe just slightly browned, because I love my granola super crunchy like myself. But just put it in the oven and keep an eye on it, and voila, it's done. It's so simple and can keep you satisfied for the whole week and just be a great snack as well. I love putting this on my nice cream, on yogurt, on just with a bowl of milk. Honestly, it's really, really good. Gluten-free protein pancakes. All you'll need are 2 cups of oat flour, 1 cup of nut milk, some maple syrup. I'm using some cacao powder once again because I love it, baking powder, and I decided to make blueberry pancakes this morning. You can use literally any fruits that you have, and once again going in with vanilla and cinnamon. And then for toppings, I just have mulberries, goji berries, and shredded coconut, and some chia seeds. So combine everything into a bowl. Your measurements might be a little bit different because I was experimenting with this recipe this morning, and I ended up using roughly 2 cups of oat flour, which I just made by blending oats until it became really fine. And I love mixing in the dry ingredients first and then just going in with my wet ingredients, and pretty much just experiment with the milk and the flour until you get a pancake consistency, and pour in any fruits that you want. I'm using the tiniest bit of coconut oil on this non-stick pan just because I feel like gluten-free pancakes can be a little bit more tricky. And yeah, just flip them anytime you start to see those little bubbles rise to the surface. And this makes about 7 pancakes depending on what size of pancake that you make them. And I highly recommend making these for your friends because they will have their inner child awaken and feel so nurtured and taken care of, and they're freaking delicious. So I think that their tummies will be really satisfied if you make them. And cooking for friends is just such a beautiful ritual and thing that you can do to love the people in your life. This is the most fun and exciting part, is loading your pancakes up with toppings. So I have these fresh mangoes from the farmer's market. I added all that shredded coconut, chia seeds, and even more cinnamon. It's really delicious to put cinnamon on top, goji berries, and even more maple syrup just drizzled right on top. These look beautiful and they taste even better than they look, and because they're made with oat flour, I feel like they're even more satisfying than normal pancakes. That's just my experience, but yeah, these are bomb. Definitely 10 out of 10. Now for another savory breakfast. This recipe is what made me love and appreciate artichokes, so that is the first ingredient. Then you're going to want to use some cannelli beans. I only had kidney beans, so I used those, and some basil. This is also key, and some garlic powder and nutritional yeast. I'm also using Himalayan pink salt and pepper, and just a little squeeze of lemon on the top, and some perfectly crunchy toasted toast. I'm using Ezekiel bread for this, but just put everything in a big bowl, and you can use any beans, but I find that cannelli beans work so perfectly with this recipe, so mash them up a bit on their own and then add in the artichoke and just mix them all together. I'm just using artichoke hearts from a jar, pretty random, already like ready to go, and adding in a lot of garlic powder and pepper and just doing all of this to taste. And I make a different portion size of this every time, so there's no measurements here. I love adding this fresh basil though. It's just like such a perfectly balanced recipe flavor-wise. Just scoop that goodness onto a piece of toast, and I didn't show it here, but I love having this with some sauerkraut on top and making even a whole sandwich out of it. You can even add avocado to make it even more filling, although I feel pretty satisfied for a while after eating this. I just added some pea shoots. I think any sprouts would be delicious with this. And of course, cut the toast into triangles because it always makes it taste better somehow. So those were all the recipes. I hope that you got some inspiration for your next meal. And I just wanted to talk a little bit on intuitive eating and healing through food, which has been quite a journey that I've been on. And I think that we're all on, whether consciously or unconsciously, we all have some kind of relationship to food. And something that I always kind of discuss with people when I'm starting to cook with someone new, or like I'm eating a lot of meals, even just with my friends, is what things digest really well and what things don't. And I think that, I don't know, I'm really proud of myself for being aware of what things make my body feel good and what things don't. And that has been something that I've been tuning into for the past year, ever since I went to India, and I realized that chickpeas literally give me anxiety because they make me bloated. It's gotten not as sensitive now. Anytime I ate them, it would make my heart beat fast, it would make me bloat, and I realized how deeply connected our digestive system is to honestly our mental health and the state of our bodies. And usually if I'm bloated or if I'm constipated, like something isn't right, either I'm procrastinating or I'm anxious or I'm just not happy. And when my digestion is happy, I'm usually pretty happy. And so I've learned that they're pretty connected. So for me, I try to stay away from most beans, and I like kidney beans and cannelli beans. I can eat cauliflower, like I love buffalo cauliflower, but I realized every time that I ate those, I would be bloated for 48 hours. And just food combining for me, I realized is really sensitive. I definitely don't eat any fruit at the end of the day or after eating a bunch of cooked foods. I feel like that one is pretty intuitive. And yeah, those are some things that I'm sensitive to, and it's going to be completely different for everyone. But I think just checking in with yourself after you eat is really important and so valuable, and just like being your own best friend and making sure to eat foods that agree with you. And also something that I've been doing before I eat to make sure that I don't overeat is taking my time to breathe into my tummy. I've been talking about this in a lot of my what I eat in a days, but I always take at least 3 deep belly breaths into my tummy. This not only helps me feel like I'm preparing my tummy to receive food, but it helps me take a moment to connect with myself and connect with what state of mind that I'm in. And if I am anxious, if I'm fearful or in a rush, then I honestly try not to eat, because I feel like I'm feeding that emotion. So I try to eat when I'm calm. If I'm not calm, then I will wait until I feel like a little bit more relaxed, and I'm not just gonna rush through this meal or use this meal as a way to push emotions down. I just really try to take a moment and feel at peace within my body, within my mind, and then when I eat, I feel like I'm feeding that frequency and allowing that to expand. Taking at least 3 breaths is just a good anchor, a good way to check in and say hello to yourself. And I also love to pray over my meals and just do this throughout the whole process of preparing a meal. This is why I love cooking my own food rather than ordering it in. And even if I go to a friend's house and they want to treat me to dinner, I will help them cook, just because being part of the process helps you to have like a sensual experience with your food and connect with it, and even put your own intentions into it. This is another thing I've been doing for quite some time, is when I'm preparing my food is to play a good song and to sing and to dance and to infuse the food with my frequency, with my love essentially. And lately I've been listening to mantras while I cook and singing them while I'm preparing my food, and I just think that everything we do is infused with the energy with which we do it, and it's very palpable. And I've just noticed such a shift being happy and just infusing my food with different blessings or mantras. And this can be anything for you. I mean, it could honestly be like a rap song and you just want to feel empowered, so you play that while you're cooking. Anything that really makes you feel good. Doesn't have to get too spiritual, but that's just what I like. And taking time before my meal. This is something I always used to do when I was younger. I would say grace every single night, and I really loved that ritual. I remember being young and being impatient to eat my food, but now when I do it, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I took this time to thank all the hands that this food has gone through to get to me. So glad that I thank the earth and all the elements for just creating this nourishing meal. And it does create this sense of reverence and humbleness and gratitude, which instantly makes me feel really good and is putting just that loving energy out into the world. And I like to just pray and manifest and wish upon all beings being able to receive the nourishment that I'm receiving. The more that I like take pauses before I eat, the more I realize how little that I actually need to eat, because a lot of times when I drop into a meditation, I feel like I have everything that I need. I just feel like all I need is my breath, and I'm just this vessel of energy, and I don't know, I'm like complete in that moment. Like when I did Vipassana meditation, I would eat until my stomach was a little bit more than half full, because that's what Goenka said to do, like don't stuff yourself but leave a little space in your stomach. And I would sit in the meditation hall and feel so full, just because I was so tuned into my body that I was like, whoa, I do not need to be eating even this much. And so now, just in my day-to-day life, when I breathe and really tune in with my body and take those 5 extra minutes where I want to just dig into the meal because it looks so good, if I take that time to just thank and send prayers and blessings and wishes upon just all beings everywhere, I just feel like, oh wait, I'm actually so content in this moment and so whole in this moment, and that alone makes me eat with more ease and more presence. And I've even been just closing my eyes when I eat. And if you've ever seen Ratatouille, one of my favorite Disney films, I'm sorry for saying it with that horrible, not even Italian accent, but there is a scene where the main rat is telling his friend to really experience the food, and he's like chewing this piece of cheese and seeing fireworks explode and colors, and his friend is just gobbling it down. He's like, no, wait, just like close your eyes, what do you see? And just really experiencing the food. That's what I feel like I've been doing, is just closing my eyes, feeling the textures, like seeing what visions I have. I don't really get visions, but I just really experience it on such a deep sensory level, and my awareness becomes so sharpened in those moments where I'm just like chewing this food and enjoying it, and it just feels like I'm really being there for every single bite. And yeah, that feels really, really good. And I'm grateful to be in community with people who also take time to be present while eating meals. I think that that's something that can affect how much you eat and your presence with eating, especially if you're in a new group of friends. It can be hard to be present with your food, basically. And I've noticed that even myself, like I'll overeat when I'm a little bit nervous in a new group of friends, just because like it's something that keeps my mouth busy, so I don't have to talk if I have nothing to say. But the more that you can practice this at home alone, the more that you can bring that practice and that presence with you everywhere, because it does become a habit, a little neural pathway, if you will, where you check in with yourself. And it's great to find someone who will kind of like pray over their food with you, and who will just be just as mindful with you, who's interested in healing through food. And when I say healing through food, I genuinely feel like I use food now as a way to show myself how much I love myself and how worthy I am of love and feeling good and just pure nourishment, because I definitely used to use food as a way to harm myself, as a way to avoid my problems. and as a very negative way to self-sabotage. And so now I completely flipped it, and I just, anytime I'm anxious, will like make myself something very light, just steamed veggies and like water with mint and lemon. If I'm really sad or just need comfort, then I'll make something really healthy that is a comfort meal. Like I'll make spaghetti squash pasta, and I will let myself indulge, but it's more so that instead of using food to harm myself, I use it to prove how worthy I am of love and of feeling good within my body, and that in turn just makes my spirit and my mental health and my confidence feel really good and empowered. That's kind of been a big switch for me, and I'm still healing, you know, I'm still learning how not to overthink if I'm eating too much or if I'm eating too little, just because I struggled with both orthorexia and binge eating, and it's like these two extremes. So every single day I just wake up and try to be as present as possible with where my mind is, especially around thoughts around my body. Like it's still something that I struggle with, to look in the mirror and be like, maybe I should eat less today because I ate a lot of chocolate last night, or maybe I should eat less because I don't look like how I want to look. And I definitely still have those conversations with myself in my head, and it does really help to talk to someone about that. Talk to someone who's just gonna listen and not necessarily tell you what to do or how to feel, but just hold space for you as you kind of share the different thoughts that come up in your mind, just to help you work through them. I just wanted to put that out there because I don't ever want to come off like I have everything together and I've healed everything. This is something that I learned a long time ago with my depression. Like, constantly going to have a relationship to our food, our mental health, our bodies. All these external things are constantly changing, and what I have chosen to do is just continue to sharpen my awareness and connect to that higher self that is just constantly witnessing all these changes, so that I don't get as swayed by them, as carried away with these certain thoughts or narratives. And I think every single day waking up and being completely present with whoever you are that day and whatever's gonna come up is the best thing that you can do. And almost forget about yesterday, forget about tomorrow, just pretend that today is the only day that exists, and bring all of your truths and your honesty to yourself first. Make space for yourself to exist in whatever form, in whatever emotion. Let me know anything that has helped you on your food journey, especially if you've struggled with an eating disorder. I would love to know what has served you and what has not, and also what foods maybe you're sensitive to. I'm just kind of curious what foods other people are sensitive to with bloating. Those were just some things that I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you found something helpful from this video, and if you try out any of these meals, please tag me on Instagram at Hitomi_Hitomi, because I would love to see you just getting fully nourished. And I hope that you are nurturing other connections in your life that make you nourished, and just consuming literally everything as medicine. What I mean by this is just checking in with how everything around you is making you feel. The people, your phone, technology, food, the movies. Use that as a way to be kinder to yourself. You know, when you start to realize what makes you feel bad, you can also tune in with what makes you feel good and just implement more of those things and find some kind of balance. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you can find some stillness today, some peace, clarity, maybe a moment of hope, a moment of joy, a moment of remembering of your highest truth. And yeah, I'm just sending you so many blessings. May you be blessed and protected, and just return to your own inner wisdom in every breath that you take. I cherish you, and I'll see you in a video soon. Bye.